it is time to make the sound to summon the stream. That is the wrong window. There we go. There we go. That seems a little more. Okay, we're at, it's supposed to be running 15 at 70. There we go. That's fine. Greetings, dear viewers. I'm Coil Quickcard, and welcome back to the Community RPG Maker Project. For more than the past year, I have been building a game in RPG Maker while trying to integrate as many ideas and suggestions from commentators, viewers, and chatters as possible. As a result, we've got a very interesting mess of a game here. Nevertheless, I am quite proud of it. And today, we are going to be doing a few things. Specifically, we've got a hidden base out here in a jungle. We're going to be continuing to build it, decorate it, just basically working on this latest micro dungeon for a bit. So that is going to be the big plan for today. Anybody who wants to contribute to this project is more than welcome to. You can always catch the streams live. I stream basically every Sunday. You're also welcome to leave suggestions in the comments for any of the VODs or videos on this. And you can always chat on the Discord as well. There's a link to that down in the description. Good morning, Coles. Good morning, Aubrey. You thought of some lore. I am not surprised. You do love coming up with lore ideas. So the first thing I want to do for the day, because it looks like last time I worked on this, I basically just got sick of working on it and kind of abandoned what I was doing halfway through. And then, of course, I pretty much took a week off. No, we've basically got this. We've got all the ups and all the downs for this area figured out. So I guess we can go straight into kind of decorating this. So the big picture story where we are right now with the game. Just to recap, we are in a section of game that's taking place on these swamp and island jungles. And basically, there are a pair of magical cats who are working with the root beer gods to try and bring conflict and war to this area, particularly between the cat folk and the bat folk, in order to empower the root beer gods with the souls of the dead. And ultimately, the act is building up toward going into the Willy Wonka-style factory in the basement of the Pepsi headquarters in order to go inside of a magical rift and fight the Pepsi gods in the primordial soda dimension. I think I've basically got that down. So specifically, on this southern island, we have a hidden base run by the magical cats. So you're going to go to this place, go through a few floors, fight a few enemies, maybe find a few treasures. Eventually you'll confront the two magical cats. They're like, hey bro, I've got this, you can go. So the other one leaves, and then the one that stays behind is going to basically like tell you what's going on and try to ask for your health. Try to ask for your help. So he's basically going to betray the other magical cat because he's really not big on the whole let's start a war to feed people's souls to the root beer gods plan anymore. Isn't the primordial soda just mead but with carbonation? I have no idea. So we enter here on the ground floor, and then we can go up and down. I'm trying to see if there's another place we could put a laser wall. So if we go up, then it goes here, and this activates a lever to access this. So getting up here, you have to go through here, which you get from here, which means you go from here, which means you have to go up from here. And to go up from here basically means you're either getting from there or from here. So here and here. So this is meant to be like a treasure room. So I don't think there's anywhere else that we can really put another locked door. I think we just leave it as is. The lore idea is that the normal cats are spies of the cat folk. That's not a bad idea. There's not really much we can do with it in terms of it being actionable, but it's not a bad idea. Anyway, let's start decorating this a little bit. So we can kind of have this be like a... Whoops. Just kind of be like a magical room, like for rituals and whatnot. What can we sort of put in here to sort of sell that concept of like magic ritual? We could kind of have like occult paraphernalia sitting around. We don't really have a table or anything. Let's see. What might work? We can at least put down a couple of tables. We can put crystal balls on the tables. That sort of works. We can put like potions and stuff on the walls. How do I want to do this? Scrolls are a pretty good thing to have. Scrolls, books. Sure, just like a few bookshelves here. Couple bookshelves here. I think that works. A couple chairs, so there is the first spot done. We can just sort of have like storage back here. Storage should be fine. So various goods. And like some boxes. What else? What else? Some barrels. Those are good for storage. Some extra crates for more storage. That might be all that I really need for storage. I still think you should be able to go to different Pepsi dimensions. And then what? Like, the idea is incomplete. We need more to it. Anything else that's good for storage? And face the wilds of that dimension to find some good loot, okay? And I think I'm done. Done with what exactly? Oh, that looks like a fun barrel. Yeah, we can put that there. A little bit more of that. I don't know if anybody else can hear all that behind me. That's probably fine for storage. Yeah, I'm sure that's fine. Okay. Then I need sort of like a place for sleeping, maybe. Also, remember the catfolk areas have to look magical. You have a lot of specific ideas about the aesthetics and sort of just the general nature of different areas. But I'm not always sure how to integrate all of the ideas. I mean, we already let the players go through the Pepsi portation grid. And they're already sort of going into the other dimension every time they are opening up a new fast travel point. So there is some representation there. Although certainly it could be expanded upon. It's not unreasonable to add some other things on top of it. It could definitely be integrated. So the question is, how do we go about doing that? And for, like, what purpose exactly? What we actually include in some of these other areas. This large open space is probably a good spot for a library. So we can throw in a bunch of books and bookshelves. Basically, the other dimensions are other liquids but soda. Yes. But we still need more than just that. We still need a better concept of what we are actually doing in other realms. What sort of things are there, and how we are going to be building upon the game's narrative from that position. We can drop a few scrolls lying around. Just some regular scrolls. Like, it can definitely be done. I'm just wondering what more can we do with it? Okay, that looks pretty okay as far as a library goes. It could be a nice transition between chapters. Okay. I mean, it's not a bad way to close out the third act of the game. We're already going to be in another dimension as is. So we could just have the players get, like, kind of lost in this other dimension for a bit. That sounds pretty reasonable. We've still got a good portion of this place to decorate. Optional challenges could also have replayability be more of an option. I barely can imagine anyone who's going to play this game even once, let alone anyone who's going to want to replay it. I genuinely can scarcely conceive of who would be playing this game. Ain't the Colosseum already that? The Colosseum does not have any mechanics integrated with it yet. We keep getting ideas suggested, but we really don't get a lot of expansion on those concepts. And as a result, we have a number of relatively shallow mechanics. Wasn't there an idea for it to have all bosses refightable? Yes, that idea was put out there. It is still definitely possible to do that. How do I want to kind of represent this? The second floor, I kind of like the idea of just like having some plants around. I think that works fine. We could start throwing out some windows on this level as well. If we're going to do that, windows up on the next level also makes sense. Throw out like a couple of chairs, I guess, maybe. Some tables. Put a clock on the wall just for the hell of it. This is a base idea for others to branch out on. Let's see. So we've got a storage area. We've got living quarters. We've got a library. We've got like a ritual room. We've got just kind of like an atrium. I suppose we could have kind of like a temple area. Maybe for the root beer gods. The magic ritual area can just have like some bones in the middle. Just make it a little macabre. I guess that works. I always knew decorating this place was going to be a bit rough, since I very much went into it with a very top-down. Well, actually more of like a bottom-up idea. No, more top-down, really. It was really just about coming up with the arrangement of the area before worrying too much about the decoration and the integration of other features. So, is there anything particularly work? I just thought of a cute idea. I'm not sure it could be added, but it's the cat folk have gargoyles as pets. You always circle back around to the pet idea. In one way or another, you want pets. You need pets. It must include pets in some form. It's not a bad idea. What else? What else? What else? There we go. Just some nice little flowers there. No, that's... I genuinely don't know how much more I can really contribute to this. So I guess at this point we just have to really get rid of a lot of superfluous area. That will help to sort of tie together the rest of it. That already looks a lot better. A few pillars around the place won't hurt. Why isn't there any cat folk present at the moment? Because cat folk don't live here, for one. And for two, because it's not done. So we'll just like arrange a few pillars around, I guess. Yeah, that should be fine. It's not great, but it's good enough. We can just lay some different floor types down. And then I think, honestly, that will probably be enough. Like, this whole area could be tile. Sure, that's fine. That's fine. What is the D&D bug species called again? You're gonna have to be way more specific. And then blue tiles. And like that. The one the players can actually use without any homebrew. Again, still probably going to have to be more specific. There's a number of different source books that have different options in them. My first thinking, though, is that you might be thinking of the Thrykeen. Yeah, I believe you're most likely thinking about the Thrykeen introduced in the Spelljammers books. You are... I don't know. I don't know why that's important, but... yeah, you're probably thinking of Thrykeen. Okay. It's pretty sparse in this section. There we go. We'll just throw out a few plants. And... table. Few chairs. Something to put on the table. Let's see. What would look good on the table? Sure, it's a tea kettle. Planning to make a Thrykeen Artificer when a DM in a server decides to take me and Annie into the... They may or may not be okay with that. That's ultimately going to be up to... GMs to decide. Okay, I think this works. So I think we can go ahead and say that we have achieved our first objective for today, to decorate the cat base. So what the hell are we actually going to call this? Southern Island, Hidden Dock. And this will be the Hidden Tower, ground floor. Hidden Tower, basement 1. Hidden Tower, basement 2. This is Hidden Tower, floor 2. And this is Hidden Tower, floor 3. Okay. Next objective for today is finished. We've given the display names to the cat base. We need to come up with a few enemy encounters. Let's take a look at our enemy types. So at this point, we are looking more for things which are going to be more specifically forces that are working for the root beer gods and the magical cats. So let's just take a goblin pirate as a basic stat template. And let's take a look at what we want. Mercenaries are probably a good fit. I mean, that's a pretty cool enemy type. The Berserker. Bird people. That's not a bad idea. I could use another one of the cat people and just have it be like someone whose soul is already claimed. All the cat folk have alliterative names, so what can we do with that? Let's play around with alliterative names. Feline, Catboy, Kitten, Cat. What can we do that is alliterative? Bombs after which some terms they'll explode. That's doable. Let me think. Pussycat. Root beer, carbonation, soda, pop, soul. Is there a word for cat starting with V? Not that I can think of off the top of my head. We could go with Caged Soul Cat Boy. That's a possibility. Is there something else I can do for soul, mind, essence, identity? Then we can use Empty Vessel. Your binding of Isaac is shining through again. I think Hold on. Fragmented Feline, that's fantastic. I think I'm seeing a possibility here. Soda Soul. Soda Soul, I could do something with that. Sanctioned, scared, scarred. Silent. Root beer slimes are pretty good. We could definitely do something with a root beer slime. The root beer slime. I feel like I'm close to something here. There's something here. My brain hasn't quite connected it yet, but my brain is sending me every signal indicating that there's something here that I have not considered yet, but which is going to fit perfectly. Like that sense you get if you know there's a bug around you somewhere, and you're not sure what part of your senses are detecting it because you can't see it or hear it, but you know it's there. Fragmented Feline. Fragmented Feline is probably better than anything I'm going to come up with. Fragmented Feline. And root beer slime. We can use this as a root beer slime. The fragmented feline. Yeah, I think that works. Honestly, that might be enough just for the sake of this area. No, let's add one more. Let's add one more. Let's go through here. Let's try to find something. Maybe something related to the bats or the bat folk. Surely I can find something. I mean, we already used one of the bats for a scout. Bombs. I think bombs will go better in the Pepsi factory. We can have a lot of fun playing with the concepts of bombs there. So we can just have this be like the soul squashed bat or something. Joel with bombs inside would be nasty. Okay. So this works. You're going to take anti-slime. What did we actually set the slime damage to? Rain damage was set to 200. Okay. Anti-slime, 200. Fragmented feline, anti-humanoid. Soul squashed bat. We don't want that. But this can be anti-bird, soul-sucking sweepers. Okay. So, root beer slime. Sure, that can be your color. The fragmented feline. We'll give them just a very off coloration. Oh, that's a cool color. I do like the idea of the soul sucking. We don't need to call it that. We can just call it Soul Sucker. So that gives me 3 monsters I can work with for this area. I can worry about sort of designing them a little bit more. Why is my brain not in this today? I mean, I can't say I'm terribly surprised. I've had a hell of a week. Well, we already know that there's going to be an event. So this is going to be Hidden Tower, floor 4. So we'll put one here at 1614. Okay, 16, 14. Yep. 16, 14, 16, 14. Okay. So this is where we are going to have the encounter with the cats. So let's say they go up here, over here, and then they go down, and this is where they have the encounter with the cats. Okay. So let's put another couple of magical circles on the floor with bones in them. Another stairway going up. Okay. Nah, those don't look good. This might look good, however. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And I think the crystal ball looks really good here for this. Okay. And we will change the floor here. Just like that. And then we'll have a glowing spot underneath each of those. Glowing spots in the corners. So taken all together, the ritual room looks like this. I think that's pretty respectable. Yeah. Cool. That's probably all we need. Okay. put that here. And that will take you here. Alright. So now we need the magical cats. Okay. So we have the magical cat here. So this will be Magic Cat 1. And this is going to be Magic Cat 2. Which one did we use back at the hidden dock? We used the black cat. Okay. So now we are working on the magical cats encounter. Okay. Okay. What's the dialogue here? Okay. I need to stop for a moment. I need to just kind of like gather my thoughts a little bit. I'm feeling extremely unfocused this morning. Like, to a really disruptive degree. Okay. Okay. What is the objective here? The objective here is to give the players context for the magical cat's actions. So what do I need to do in order to get that across? I need to provide exposition. Specifically, we need exposition detailing how the cats got here, what happened to them, what they are currently doing, and why they are currently doing it. Ugh. Okay. So. In order to do that, we are going to need Catasby. Catasby and event switch, which activates when you touch the spot. So the first thing that needs to happen is that we fade out the screen, we gather the followers, we set the player image No, I have no idea. Katasby, turn on through, change it to this. They move left and they turn down. Turn off player followers. Okay. We can have a conditional. No, I basically can't. So the problem with this, as it is written, is that if the player has Katasby in slot 1 of the party, it's basically just going to look like there's 2 Katasbys on screen. So is there a way we can set this? Okay. We can set temp A equal to the actor ID of party member 1. And then if temp A is equal to Ryu, or is equal to Katasby, then instead of this, we will set it equal to Ryu. So the actor ID of Katasby is 7. So if temp A is equal to 7, that means Katasby is in slot number 1. And if Katasby is in slot number 1, then we do the Ryu who walks off. Otherwise, we do Katasby. Okay. That works. And so now we have both Katasby and Ryu on the screen at the same time without any of the other party members present. So then we need the magic cats. Where are the magic cats? Do I have faces for the magic cats? Surely I made faces for the magic cats. Did I seriously never make faces for the magic cats? Oh my god, I don't think I ever made faces for the magic cats. No, there's no way. I had to have. Okay, I think I was just using Yeah, I think I was just using the regular faces. Okay. That should be fine. So this one can be like, they've arrived. I told you I was being followed. Okay. So Magic Cat 1 is going to turn up. Magic Cat 1 is going to wait 1 second, turn up, wait 1 second, and turn right. I told you I was being followed. And Grotto, want to hear the music I made? You're welcome to send it. We turn up, wait a second, turn left. And we have the other cat say, I suppose you had to be right eventually. What's that supposed to mean? And the other cat will respond, your paranoia has been getting worse. You've been convinced you were being followed for days. And the cat will say, and clearly I was right. And then we can start having dialogue. It has to be... who are you? Why have you been causing trouble? Okay. And without waiting for completion, and then turn right, and Magic Cat 2 will do the same, but with turning left. With this one, we wait for completion. Okay. Okay. This cat will say, ugh, I can't think, I can't focus. Oh, what is up with me today? This cat will say, what exactly? I'll deal with them. Go prepare for the summoning. this one will say... Will you be alright? No, he won't say that. He'll be like, be careful. They are stronger than they appear. Okay. And then Magic Cat 1. From this location, 2 down, 1, 2, 3, 4 right. Okay. 2 down, 1, 2, 3, 4 right through. No, transparent on. We wait for that. Okay. The other cat will turn up and we'll start talking. Loridia, catfolk can disguise themselves as normal cats for spy missions, and all of the normal cats are just catfolk spies. Okay. And what do we do with that? How do we turn that into something narrative within this story? How do we translate that into... How can we translate that into some kind of event within the story? Okay. What do I do with that? I'm not in the right headspace for this. I didn't get enough sleep and I've had too busy of a week. I'm not seeing things with the same kind of clarity that I should be. It's severely limiting my creativity. It's not really that your idea is out there, it's that I don't know how to integrate it. I don't know how to make it something actionable within the story. Okay. All looks good. Let's make sure that this at least looks presentable. Right. It helps if at some point we have a fade in. So, fade in. The Katasby event, we're just going to make a move very quickly so that this happens very quick. Okay. Stairs are working fine. So we should see Katasby. We do. They've arrived. I told you I was being followed. Uh-huh. Clearly, I was right. Okay. That works fine. And now let's test it if for some reason you have Katasby in party slot 1. And this time we should see Katasby standing where he was and then Ryu walk off to the side. Which is exactly what we see. And under that instance, we need to turn the stepping animation on, change the frequency to normal, that's fine. Just from the pure positioning of things, we will move all of the dialogue boxes to the top of the screen. Basically a farming town that has catfolk spies in it, yet they don't mind because at least the mice are getting killed. I do not know how I can communicate more clearly what we really need for things to be really actionable within the story. I don't know how to communicate that. yes, we can just put out cat sprites. But why are they there? What are they contributing to the world? Do we just have a line of dialogue where if you interact with the cats, it'll say, "Shh, quiet, I'm undercover," and then leave it at that? That's a very easy thing to put in if we want to do that. But we need to consider from the perspective of a player, what are we communicating to a player if we do that? What are we telling the player about the setting, about the story, about the structure of the game? Ultimately, we are trying to guide players of the game through the narrative, through the various mechanics. So how are we serving that goal? At this point, I have basically already accepted that you will never stop suggesting pets or pet-adjacent things until we can somehow integrate them into the project to a greater degree. So what I want to do is find a clever way that we can do that. Something that will really satisfy that interest for you. Because I can tell that it is something you are very passionate about. And I want to try to honor that passion. But I really want to do it in some way that will build upon the foundations of the experience we already have, instead of starting to build a different, smaller foundation next to the existing one. That is what I'm struggling with. To find a way to really take that interest and that passion that you have and to use it to enrich the game in a way that is going to be noticeable and enriching for the players. So how do I go about doing that? you're very, very big on the cat folk, and you very clearly think of the cat folk as being cats in their behavior and in their, well, really just that. You really think of the cat folk as being cats in their behavior and in their operations and their communications. So what can I do with this? The idea of spy cats is workable. It's definitely workable, and I can see a line where this can potentially foreshadow the events with the magical cats here. That is doable. So let's brainstorm a bit. So we know that the magical cats were refugees who fled Wallachia after the false Hydra attacks started. So almost certainly these magical cats have lost something to the Hydra. So a person or persons. The magical cats have lost a person or persons close to them. And also all memory of those victims. So how do I sort of foreshadow this a bit? Okay. So we can have a home in Wallachia, which was occupied by a cat or by someone who had cats. We can add a few cats in other towns with dialogue. That is doable. But where is the thread? It's like I'm looking in a canyon. It's like I'm looking into a canyon. And someone has started building a bridge on each side of the canyon. And they're trying to figure out how to make them meet in the middle. That's sort of the mental exercise I'm under right now. Okay. Okay. So, here's what we can do. We know that there were other Lich priests who lived in Wallachia, and of which Mr. Bones is the last. Mr. Bones is the last of the Lich priests of Wallachia. So the magic cats were the pets of a Wallachian Lich priest who lived in the Undercity, specifically at the seminary. So, the false Hydra kills the Lich priest. The magic cats lose all memory of the Lich priest. The people of Wallachia drive out the magical cats due to the panic of the false Hydra attacks. The magical cats flee and nearly die. The cats are saved by the root beer gods, who bind them to a pact where the gods will get the cats' souls when they die, and the cats later negotiate. Okay, the magical cats flee and nearly die when they are also rejected by the Pepsi Land locals. The cats later negotiate with the gods, and it is agreed that if they can deliver 100 souls to the root beer gods, the gods will release their claim on the cats' souls. So the magical cats are trying to start a war between the bat folk and the cat folk, so the victims' souls can be devoured by the root beer gods. So that's basically where we're at. So we can foreshadow the magical cats a little bit. We can foreshadow them a bit. With some more stuff back in Wallachia. That's all doable. It's just going to take a little bit of work to integrate it. But it's not disruptive, and it flows naturally from the established lore. I think that works. Aubrey, would this be sufficient to satisfy you? If the magical cats were pets of priests from Wallachia. Would that be enough to satisfy your need for pets in this project? I'll be honest, I don't particularly care one way or the other. But it is the direction I think we will build it a little bit. And that can give a little bit of foreshadowing for the magical cats as well, which I think is very helpful for the project. Ugh. Okay. I'm actually going to end the stream here today because I am exhausted. My brain is in a fog. And I'm not in a particularly good creative state to make like quality additions to the project at this time. We did manage to get the base pretty effectively decorated, which I think is good. We got the start of the next major story event. We've got some ideas for some additional lore stuff that we can start adding next time. And we were also able to decide on 3 enemies that are going to be fought as random encounters throughout this dungeon. The root beer slime, the fragmented feline, and the soul sucker. So, not a big stream today, but we did make some progress. I thought there might be a little bit of adjustment issue moving back into this project. I basically hadn't worked on this in a week, more than a week. So we'll get back into the groove of it. It'll improve. But I really think this is the limit of what I can contribute to the project today that's actually going to have some kind of quality to it. If I keep going, I'm not going to be putting in anything that's particularly good. I know that. So, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We'll be back here again next week, Saturday next week. Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke will have its finale. Probably its finale. We're definitely going up against the Elite Four, so it's either win or lose. Sunday next week, we're going to be back here with RPG Maker again for the community project. The current daily series on the channel is StarCraft 2. Once StarCraft 2 is over, there's going to be some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff. And then I have no idea what. Once the Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke is over, Saturdays we'll be switching to Ogre Battle 64. And I think that's all the updates that I had. So I hope you all have a really good day. And I will see you all in the next one. It is time to make the sound to summon the end of the stream. Wow, 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 wow.